I brought out in an earlier video that under anchor date that 422 Randolph Street, Richmond, Indiana, the anchor date search showed that it was tied to 938 South 17th Street, Richmond, Indiana. I have a warranty deed mill going on under the cause number in Wayne County, Indiana, Judge Gregory Alton Horn's court under cause 89D02-1209-MF-000343, which is U.S. Bank versus Diddy et al. And I'm not naming exactly. I don't care about that. What I care about is there are two warranty deeds and two mortgages for one property. It's supposed to be 422 Randolph Street. Now, as I stated, I have 422 Randolph Street, Richmond, Indiana, under the anchor date search that was given to me, and it's under anchor date, the recording anchor date. It's tied to 938 South 17th. The 422, when we got the anchor date search, it showed an undisclosed land contract to 938 South 17th. It also showed a sheriff's deed. So Laura Roberts told me to go over and get this case, which was 89D02-0206-MF for mortgage foreclosure-025. That's February of 2006. Now this is, excuse me, so this should be 0602. I have to start all over again. I'm so mad about this. That's okay. I'm not going to change that because it's easy to transpose. The clerk transposed, right? So 0602. So that was a year. So this one's 2012. And the 9th month mortgage foreclosure. So this is the one for against my daughter that I said was a wrongful foreclosure, and indeed it was. For if it wasn't, why would Judge Horn allow two warranty deeds to the same property and two mortgages? Totally separate. And these are certified that Tammy Lynn Ortman and these lawyers brought into the case. Rachel pointed it out earlier in her defense. Of course, Judge Horn totally ignored that. Said he read everything, right? Jailed all of us, knew all this. Basic didn't jail us, but held us in the courtroom. My husband and myself and three other people that were in the audience, and did not allow my daughter, and did this and said, "Oh, now what kind of a judicial officer would I be? You suck, Judge Horn. You're a criminal is what you are. And you got voted in, and you need to go to jail for what you've done. You have no right putting anyone in prison when you're a criminal." And Tammy Lynn Ortman, just because you got a license to practice law, that just means you better have liability insurance, and you're going to jail too. So these two properties are tied together. And these two foreclosures happen on 422 Randolph Street reportedly. And I've already stated on them for the record many times in many interviews the facts above, that these two properties were joined together and it was not disclosed. So in this case, Judge Gregory Alton Horn, they tied it up in a nice little bow. And that's what I have in the warranty deed and the mortgages. Yes, this is it. This is for the 938 South 17th. If you'll see, this is in a different court. This is Jack F. Bakley, Deutsche Bank National Trust. Annette Scott, this gives her address, 938 South 17th, and Charles Scott. This is in front of Judge Colger, which I like him. I've dealt with him. He's been fair with me. But this, it shows that he filed an appearance, and they go on down. Files a notice of change of address. So they end up losing the house at this point, which is when Rachel was living at the 422 Randolph Street. This is a 938 South 17th. That is tied to Rachel's address via the undisclosed land contract. It's not only undisclosed, there's a lot of discrepancies in it. It could be that the mineral rights and the surface rights belong to Pamela White, and Pamela White Judge Horn represented her right before he became a judge, and he gave her address as West End Bank. We already know West End Bank and Paul Stickle and Kathy Puckett were all involved in fraud, but the only one arrested was Kathy Puckett. And I already know, talking to Neil Freeman, an FBI agent who handled the case back in 2008 through 2010, that he told me, he said, I felt really bad. Only the girl got in trouble. I wanted to get Mr. Stickle because what he did was fraud, and what you had that he did is fraud, but that he couldn't move on it. So here we've got officials in government and in the FBI that are being stopped from moving. Why would that be? Well, this shows the case is filed, of course, I say, in Judge Colger's court, and he handled it. If you go down, you'll see that they get a judgment on this. But let's look, because this is how they do it. That's part of the redocket case, and I have the redocket shadow docket that this would go with. And here, there's Jack F. Blakely again with Doyle and Friedmeier, Deutsch Nash, as trustee for Carrington. This is Judge Horn's courtroom, D02, District 2, Circuit Court 2. It gives Annette's address, Charles. They come in, they file these appearances. This is the one that's tied to the 422 Randolph Street. And then they file for 710 a file motion for voluntary dismissal, order of dismissal. It is ordered that this cause is dismissed without prejudice. Why? Because they're going to redock it under the 422 Randolph Street. It's the same exact case, and if you'll look here, it overlaps by approximately 1 month. It says it's over with or disposed of 7/14/2008. 6/19/2008 is where they filed the same exact motion, so they got a month overlap. It doesn't list them as trustee here, however. And it goes on down and does all this, and then it says that they're going to file a notice of change of address. So let's go back up here to, let's go down here. This is the one. This is the 422 Randolph Street. Now you'll notice that the address is not listed here. You'll also notice that Betty Cross, William and Betty Cross, the probate ran through a special Hagerstown court. But this 2717 Northwest B, see the quotations? There's a special reason for that. That leads to Center City, Richmond, which is right in front of Abstract's title of Richmond. Sailor Street, which is a monument street. Sailor Street, they have Sailor Street Investments. Of course, the county and city attorney are housed and involved with Abstract's title of Richmond, and it's hooked on to U.S. Bank, the foreclosing bank that came against Rachel, the one that took a loan that they knew was false, and I can prove it in the beginning. They came in and took what they wanted to, and the judge was told. He said in Rachel's case, nobody understands your case. Well, I don't know why he wouldn't. It's his shadow docket. What doesn't he understand about it? He understood. He just didn't want to admit he understood. It was his shadow docket that was put back into the discovery sent registered mail. Side that Tammy Lynn Ortman of Lewis and Capps Law Firm, she's a director. She submitted a warranty deed forgery in February 5th, 2015. She gave the date of March the 13th, 2008. She really screwed up. That goes to the property 938 South 17th. This warranty deed is reportedly under a foreclosure case, two foreclosure cases, because there's a foreclosure mill, judicial foreclosure mill operating here in Wayne County, and it was discovered, and it was put into registered mail, sent to the clerk, sent to the court. They know. They're fully aware, because what happened was they brought in this lady here, another attorney, to try to fix these matters because they got busted. And instead of any corrective action to date, nothing has happened except further retaliation by the government and public elected officials. And this is what I pay taxes for. I say it's a good case not to pay anything. Can't even do an identity theft report on tiny little children. I have a duty to defend my family, my offspring, and my offspring's offspring. And this court, Judge Gregory Alton Horn to be exact, the man Gregory, you have an oath of office, right? You took an oath under the Constitution. You have a contract under that constitutional oath. And you can't act in fraud in any way, shape, or form, not even in the administrative side of this, and you have as an officer. So Tammy Lynn Ortman entered 2 warranty deeds into a foreclosure case. I don't want to have to redo all this again, but these are the 2 warranty deeds that Tammy Lynn Ortman has put into a foreclosure case that's reportedly for 422 Randolph Street. I did an anchor date recording that shows the property that the actual land and property that Rachel Diddy reportedly bought, 422 Randolph Street, was tied to a 938 South 17th via an undisclosed land contract. They're operating under anchor dates. And a seasoned title professional from Freedom Title told me this, gave me the document, and there is an anchor date search that I will include at the end of this, but these are the two, or at the beginning of this probably. So here's the 2 warranty deeds that Tammy Lynn Ortman and U.S. Bank, uh, other attorneys, Foudy and Foudy, a Wendy Kitchell, and there was a Rochelle Ragusi and David Andrew, I believe. Tammy Lynn Ortman entered into the case, and along with a Jennifer Ortman from Lewis and Capps law firm. So there were 2 warranty deeds entered into one foreclosure case for 422 Randolph Street that was filed in 2012. This all ties back to a 2006 undisclosed sheriff's deed that was not disclosed on the record that kept the owners the same. They're doing the same thing again because they're stupid asses. They don't know what they're doing because they don't understand. They continue to do this and they're digging themselves deeper and deeper. This is massive, massive fraud, and we got the big players here. They're not very good at it. So I'm looking at what has happened this year in 2015 under this property, and still to this date, the recorders down there, the court, the judicial officer, and it's the clerk of courts, they still have it under the name of Rachel Diddy and Carol Isaacs. Now, Carol Isaacs holds an interest for her minor heirs and has power of attorney, and it's very specific power of attorney and a will. And that's an interest for those heirs, correct? So this judge allowed all this fraud to go on. He allowed 2 mortgages into the case with different dates and different set of facts, different, altercations, and 2 warranty deeds into the case. And all of it was anything that they put in, it was countered effectively. They haven't answered it effectively to date. And the judge is totally biased because he was the one who represented Pamela White, aka Pamela Medford, he gave an address of West End Bank for Pamela White, aka Pamela Medford, aka Pamela Reed. Gregory Alton Horn did. And the other attorney who represented her husband in the divorce, I don't even know if these people are real. I just know the attorneys that are representing them at the time. He was Ronald Lloyd Cross, the county attorney that also is the president of Title Abstracts of Richmond that's hooked onto U.S. Bank, the foreclosing bank servicer, they're saying, in this foreclosure case. And that's hooked on via Skywalk, and they're all operating behind the scenes in the judicial mill, folks, under this Deutsche Bank National Trust. So this is just a showing of the documents on very specific one purchase, one property, and how it spanned out and what the pattern for the fraud is. So here she entered 2 warranty deeds into the record, and I'm going to play it, and then I'll move on to the next round. why. 318. And then notice this, because I'm going to show you the certified copy from the actual land records office. But notice that. And what I could do is I'll highlight it so we can come back. March 14th, it's a copy of what was already given to her. But we need to go back, because this is what Tammy put into court. See, the 607, 1225, 2 page. What we can know about that. This is what's in the land records. This is what Tammy Lynn Ortman produced. And she produced it again, and the judge gave her away, saying it was unopposed. It was opposed the last time. It's been opposed every single time up until the Honorable Gregory Alton Horn bamboozled Rachel. There was plenty of witnesses there and wouldn't let her speak. It was intimidating and threatened, and did eventually make good to put out a warrant on her, and they threatened to put her in jail until they ignored this and produced this kind of papers in this court. This is I mean, if the judges pointed in this direction, and he helped her get here, this chick, this Ortman. Anyway, as you can see, and if you can't, I could go down to 100%, I think. Yeah, that'll make it a lot better, won't it? Then I can just go back up. Didn't think about that. Sorry about that, folks. This will make it a lot better. So, there we go. This is Tammy Lynn Ortman's true and accurate copy. Well, this is a copy as well. Let's see if everything's right here. Yep. Yes, everything's the same here. And of course, there was that clerk's certification. Sometimes they put it on the front page, sometimes they put it on the back. It depends. Like over at the courthouse, they'll put it on not every page. So I'm messing up. Oh, there we go. That's on the second page here, which is where I'm going to go. Remember, this one's from the land records from Deborah Rash, and this one is from Tammy Lynn Ortman entering it into the court. And see the brass tacks? That would be the first set of keywords. Everything up is pretty much the same here, except for the pixels and speckled artwork here on the page. Oh, yeah. Except for this too, I forgot. Now we'll get down to the nitty gritty, and I'll be done with this document, and we'll be moving on to the next one. And it's on the hard copies, just as plain as day. That is not an H she has there. And this is what kind of bullcrap's being put into the courts to take these properties. Even when somebody, you can't, you go in there and they act like what you say they don't understand. What the hell? I mean, what the hell? Give me a break. Let me just go on up on that. You see that? This is what Tammy Lynn Ortman put in. Let's put some yellow to it, see if that helps it any. And then let's minimize it. And let's put some yellow to this too. See if that helps it any. Okay, folks. Original anchor date, report. That's what a lot of people are talking about. Here's one. This term was first used to me by a seasoned licensed professional from Freedom Title Company who was helping me because I told her that I thought my grandchildren's identity was stolen. So, this is 2422 Randolph Street, which is the Lot 154 Haynes addition to the city of Richmond. So here's the first page of it, and this is what the lady handed me. These are my notes as well. So they transposed these numbers in the original case when they came against Rachel for the wrongful foreclosure. They transposed these two numbers. That's Freedom Title gave me these. I want to go back because, I want to go back because I've got some forensic investigators and some very key people, authors and things like that interested in this. Here's something I just noticed. 3/20/2003. This would be Annette and Charles Scott. This ties into the anchor date that you see later. But Charles and Annette Scott signed on 3/13 of 2003, reportedly. And I've talked to Charles and Annette Scott. I'm in touch with former homeowners on these three properties, or at least three of them, because there's four initially. There was the 422 Randolph Street, a city property, the 4393 U.S. Highway 35. Haven't contacted that Tony S. Bond. That's tied to the Rachel's oldest offspring, the state issued identity being hijacked down to Spencer County, Indiana, and then there's the 10,007 U.S. Highway or State Road 38, Greens Fork, Indiana, which is a county property. And then there's the 4924 U.S. Highway 35 that has the biological mother, her birth certified name and birth certified information tied, and that's under the bio mom tied to daughter stolen identity video. So Tammy Lynn Ortman on February 5th, 2015 entered a date of 3/13/2008 wrongfully, but she didn't do it wrongfully. She did it because she knows she's coming in to fix this. She's the fixer, right? Didn't fix it very well, Tammy. No wonder you were quivering. I thought you were afraid of the judge. You need to know that you cannot do this. If somebody goes into what they in the judicial, is it not true? State Administrative Court, Indiana Supreme Court, Judicial Commission, is it not true that if somebody has basically stated the facts, told the judge basically that he has an interest in the property, given him back a shadow docket, caught all of this on the record. Deborah Berry knows best that anybody can call her. Deborah Rash at the Land Records knows about it. All these agencies have known about it. It's been reported to him. Thousands and thousands of dollars, thousands of documents sent. It is now 2015 and nothing's been done to date. Are you having fun yet with everybody? And you all play games up there at Congress acting like you're going to really investigate anything. You make me sick. There's thousands and thousands of warrants on the heads of our youth, and you have done nothing but perpetuated this fraud. It is a continuing criminal enterprise. So here you got this case, this attorney being brought in. She's tying it to the former owners, this young lady who didn't do anything wrong. She had a job. She had good credit. They stole her children's identity. The county and city attorney, the law firm that the county and city attorney, the county attorney is the president of. Judge Snow used to be the president of it. And this Judge Horn is operating with this Charles Hyde, who took a voluntary layoff from being an attorney, right? No wonder you guys aren't going after him, because he's part of your judicial mill. So's Paul Stickle. And you put Kathy Puckett in jail. Well, maybe you should. I bet you should have put Paul Stickle in jail. And West End Bank? West End Bank. That's Pamela White, the former owner of records. Listed address, Pamela White. And Judge Horn represented her. And the county attorney represented her husband in the divorce. Isn't that right? So I just wanted to add that. That's very important, because in February the 5th, 2015, approximately 14 days before Judge Horn threatened to jail Rachel and held about 5 innocent bystanders in his court. He had great fun. This little stubby man, this little criminal, Gregg, who puts people in jail daily, right? There is no independence or non-biased in this judicial, has been allowed to continue on with this fraud. So what I have to do is expose it. I don't care what any of you do. You got to lay your heads down at night. Every one of you have done nothing, and it will hit your family because they're going to take your pension funds and hold our country. There is no way that this can continue, and you're not trying to fix it. The Consumer Protection Financial Bureau, they're a big farce. The Victims Compensation Fund, that's a big bunch of crap too. You guys are just totally out of control and totally criminal. And I have lost all confidence in you, and many other people will too. So here's a foreclosure. This attorney comes in and puts in February 5th, 2015, the date of 3/13. Rachel's closed her house on 3/14. Annette and Charles Scott signed on 3/13. I've been maintaining this all along, this anchor date thing. And you just saw that that is an anchor date. This is an anchor date. Right here. Addition to the city of Richmond. So here's the first page of it. And this is what the lady handed me. These are my notes as well. So they transposed these numbers in the original case when they came against Rachel for the wrongful foreclosure. They transposed these two numbers. That's important, but that won't be shown in this. But you see, there's deed records. One of the things that wasn't showing up was the sheriff's deed on the records. They told her that Paul Stickle was the seller, the title company did. And then there's a warranty deed, of course, but here's a sheriff's deed. Here's also another warranty deed. So we go down, and the lady from Freedom Title gave me these numbers as well. And here is a sheriff's deed, 4/23/2009. Now this is to the 422 Randolph Street, mind you, and it'll come up in a moment. $18 Doyle Legal. The document is exempt from sales disclosure form requirement of Public Law 63-1993, Section 2. And of course, this is underlined. There's nothing here. The indenture witnesseth that Paul M. Strittmatter, who is now the guy over excise, Governor Pence appointed him over that, so he was a sheriff of Wayne County, conveys to Deutsche Bank National Trust Company as trustee for the Carrington Mortgage Loan Trust Series 2005 NC3 asset-backed pass-through certificates. And it's hard to see this because there's some problems with this, but 1610 East Street, East St. Andrew Place, Santa Ana, California, in consideration for the sum of $98,000. And now this is important, $98,000, because Rachel reportedly made an offer of $68,000 that was accepted. So there's a $30,000 variance here. So here's the 938. You'll see lot number 14 in Richards Addition replat, now Oakland Place addition to the city of Richmond, Indiana. Also, and commonly known as 938 South 17th Street, Richmond, Indiana. Notice the 3 zeros on the zip. And then it goes subject to all liens, encumbrances, and easements of record. Charles and Annette Scott, the owners of the record, owned this as well. It was reported, and I have spoken with them, but this is... I want to say something. The October the 1st, 2008 date, October the 1st, 2006, is when Paul Stickle reportedly got the warranty deed on the 422 Randolph Street. Now, this is part of the anchor date search for the 422 Randolph. But October the 1st, 2006 is when the home for Annette and Charles Scott was reportedly sold at a sheriff's deed sale to Charles and Annette Scott. To Paul Stickle from the foreclosure 89D02-0206, which was February of 2006, to mortgage foreclosure -025. That was the cause number back in 2006. So this is for the 938 South 17th, though. As you see, on October the 1st, 2008 is saying. October the 1st, 2006 is when when and remember, I've already shown where the two cases are interloping by a month over time, how they're doing this. That's the same cause number, where I show doubles and it's a month overlap. And this house is for $98,000. Rachel reportedly bought hers for $68,000. There's a $30,000 variance, but I'm going to show something later. This is a 938 South 17th. These are the reason for two warranties deeds in the present foreclosure case that just happened, and for two mortgages, and one of them being a mom's MERS mortgage. And that's where Holtman and R.K. Arnold probably should have testified, rightfully so. They should have said, oh, we're running them through the circuit courts throughout all the land. And the courts really are operating as a bank, because Judge Horn sanctioned Rachel and made her pay to the court taxes instead of the treasury window. Right, Judge Horn? Right, Tammy Lynn Ortman? Andrew Thompson? All these attorneys, I've got all your names, I've got all your numbers, and I have all the facts. And there is no getting out of this one. And Annette Scott, the owners of the record, owned this as well. It was reported, and I have spoken with them, but this is an anchor date search. This is all an anchor date search. There's 4 pages. Sales disclosure approved, Wayne County Assessor. It is witness wherefore I, the undersigned sheriff aforesaid, have hereunto set my hand to the seal and seal the 18th day of March 2009. And there comes the warranty deed that I just showed you in. Correct? The reason that's important is because this new lawyer, Tammy Lynn Ortman of Lewis and Capps in Indianapolis, she's a director. She came in with a fake warranty deed to the 422 Randolph Street, and she brought in a warranty deed of March the 18th, 2009. Well, Rachel's warranty deed to 422 Randolph Street was March the 18th of 2008, wasn't it, Tammy Lynn Ortman? And also, on February the 5th, she gave testimony and entered into the record as evidence the date of March 13th. March 13th, 2008. So that show for the 422 Randolph Street, March 13th, that ties it back through this document to the foreclosure mill that goes clear back to even prior to 2003. There is a foreclosure mill that is in operation in this country, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And they've tied it in a nice little bow, and thought no one could ever figure it out. It's not hard to do when what's been being said in these briefs has been going on is true. And they want to play like, oh, well, there's nothing you can do about it. Hey, Judge Horn, you said, oh, I don't want to put you in jail. What kind of a judicial officer would I be? What kind are you? Are you supposed to administrate estates this way? Have you been directed by someone to do this? Isn't there recordings on everything that tie right up to the United States Supreme Court, right? Every one of you are in trouble. When you do those redockets, the clerks, when you do those and you're allowing this system to go on and you're collecting and sharing funds on basically copies that you never made, and you're running shadow dockets in the system, every one of you are guilty, and every one of you need to go to jail. And Neil and Rich, you tell your people up on the hill, or whoever you want to tell, I don't care. I want these public officials in their public official capacity, I want them arrested. I want them to be arrested just like anyone else would. I want this crime, you folks, to prosecute this crime. That's what I want. I reported it. I've done all the work. You know what's going on. And yet still to this date, nothing has been done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to have to sue. I don't want to have to do any of this. I want this stopped. I want it stopped immediately. This is enough. So here, this is to the 938 South 17th. The property that Annette and Charles Scott owned in addition. So they're doing something when they have you send the tax bill to a certain place. They're tying it in the fake court system under that. And this is what's interesting. So here's 938 South 17th, and it goes on to show It is witnessed on the 18th day of March 2009. 18th day of March 2009. And I'll show this one to Rachel's place. And this is for the 938 South 17th. Rachel bought 422 Randolph. The anchor date search is for 422 Randolph. And here we go. 3/20/2003. That Pamela E. Medford, she's also known, folks, as Pamela E. White, an adult of Wayne County in the state of Indiana, conveys and warrants to Charles Scott and Annette Scott, husband and wife, lot number, and it's supposed to be lot 154. This looks like lot 164 to me, though. But we'll get to that later. In Haynes addition to the city of Richmond, Pamela E. Medford and Pamela E. White are one and the same person. Terms and provisions are recorded in a land contract between Pamela E. Medford, formerly known as Pamela E. White, to Charles Scott and Annette Scott, husband and wife, recorded as instrument number 2002. This is a deal with Lingo Real Estate and their people. This is a subject, this 2002 thing, and I'll get to that later. But anyway, Charles is, so you send the tax. I'll go ahead and get to that now. That 2002 000943 in the clerk's entry under that, under Docs Pop. You can go look it up. You guys can do it on your dime from now on in. How's that? I don't have to. I can recall this from memory. That right there, the clerk put a note in to okay everything 20 days out. Okay, what? 20 days out. 20 days out. So they were going to correct or convert parties 20 days out. And that's Paul Lingle and Bayview Construction on the 938 South 17th. That's that document. Those are the original that's the original transactions that happened. There was also two other a young couple that bought it, but I suspect they were also, like Charles and Annette Scott, had their identities stolen. So the main thing is it's Judge Horn, Charles Hyde. Horn used to be partners with Hyde. There's attorneys involved as well in this judicial mill. A lot of them have taken their name off the dockets suddenly, but I have the original records. I also have bank accounts to all these property cards because they were operating a live system. Isn't that right, Miss Mayor Sally Hutton? I've reported all kinds of fraud to you guys, and nobody's doing anything but covering it up, correct? Shame on all of you. And I'll tell you what, karma is bad, because someday it's going to hit one of your family members, and you're going to be sorry you never did anything when you could. And your bosses are going to be sorry. I don't care what kind of a job I had. If I had to work under those kind of conditions, I would be a whistleblower and blow the whistle on the whole bunch of you, right? And you folks are flat enslaving people. These are human rights violations. This is against all kinds of international law. It's against contract law, UCC, and you just can't go around doing this. And you agencies that this has been reported to, you prosecuting attorney, police force, city council, common council, county council, all of you, this is not how you're to do business. That you are here because of taxpayers and people like me, voters. And look, you think that anyone was going to want to participate with this kind of crap going on? And Congress knows all about it. Play your little word games up there. Act like you're going to really do something, Trey Gowdy. Act like you're going to do something, Pelosi. All of you make me sick. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And I guarantee you, my grandfather told me he'd never seen it this bad. Guaranteed your parents and grandparents would be ashamed of you for letting this happen. Tax statement to Charles Scott and Annette Scott, 422 Randolph Street, Richmond, Indiana. It is witnessed, wherefore, that Pamela E. Medford and hereunto affixed her name and seal this 13th day of March 2003. Well, now, Rachel signed for her closing reportedly, and she was there. She thought she was closing. She thought she was buying a home. She didn't know they made her the seller on March the 14th of 2008, and they had her make the cashier's check out for March the 13th, and then claim something came up and she'd have to come in. And like I said in this before I ever did the other part where I showed February 5th, February the 5th of 2015, Tammy Lynn Nortman put the date of 3/13/2008 into the record. as a date that Rachel signed something. So she came in to fix this matter, correct, Judge Horn? I'm going to go into your guys' testimony tonight. It'll be out today to the proper authorities, and it's not just going to be Neil and Rich. It's going to be other people. I'm sick of this, and I'll forward it separately because I've had it with nobody doing anything about this. And they backdated the insurance to the 13th. And that is an anchor date search, folks. This is an anchor date document to one property, not 938 South 17th. Oh, no. It is to 422 Randolph Street, showing other properties that are tied to the 422 Randolph Street. And as you see, it's an original. It said anchor date. She told me to remember anchor date. Remember, it's an anchor date search. So this is where the term anchor date came from me. I don't know about other people, but this came from me, and it came from my research when I went into the Land Records Office. So hopefully that helps, folks. It's hand side, a certified copy, and I've checked it from, and it's entered by Tammy Lynn Ortman. We entered this previously with a different certification number, and Miss Deborah Rash called you, Neil, left her phone number. I checked with her. She said nobody's called her yet. I told you it wasn't on record. I told Rich about it. And evidently you guys have, I don't know what's going on here, but there's other people to tell. I'm going to tell you two again in this video, but I'm here to tell you it's going out. And Neil Freeman from the FBI in Muncie and the FBI in Indianapolis and the state of Indiana, County of Wayne, City of Richmond, the United States government, Rich Delmar at the Department of Treasury in Washington, D.C., for sure have been notified of these facts, and they have numbers, names, communications, and nothing has been done today. And I'm fed up. I have a whole entire family that I care about there in my life. You all may not care about your citizens, your people, and you may want to overturn your own government and make these kind of rules where an attorney can come in and do this and let MERS get away with this. But I want you to look. Do you see right here? See right here? See this? See the EIN number? Let's go up here. Remember, the left's the one that's certified, right? This one is the one that Tammy Lynn, and this is certified too. Untitled certified copies of false entry into court fraud upon the court PDF. The judge talked about getting down to the brass tacks. If you see this, you may think it's the same. And all the numbers appear to be the same, don't they? The mortgage security instrument, March 14th, 2008. March 14th, 2008. The mortgager is Rachel Diddy, right? To the left is certified. To the right is what was put into the court on at least 3 different occasions and was countered several times, and the judge continued to allow and help them to create parole evidence against a young lady who did nothing wrong but bring forth the facts, and then also, in addition to that, bring her to a parole demise and sanction her and further persecute her. And this is a public elected official, Judge Gregory Altenhorn. And the people that did this in the first place were the county and city attorney, Boston Beaver, Kling, and Cross, who the DOJ, one of the Beaver or Boston One, are a public and private bankruptcy trustee, correct? So here's a certified. You see there's no 35 stamp over here, $34 over here. And I'll go all the way over to show it's not there. Should be there. So now let's go on to page 2. And those aren't punch holes, those are brass tacks. The judge uses that keyword. And you can do your own comparison, right? Because I already can tell you now that on page 5, her initials will be gone. 4 or 5, her initials will be gone on the frauded one, or will be added. On this, on the left-hand side one, there are no initials in page 5. As you can see, there's certified number, and this Tammy Lynn Ortman entered this. We'd already entered previously. Tammy Lynn Ortman entered this one February 5th, 2015, after a year of prosecuting Rachel. There's page 3. We'll go down here. Page 3. Page 4. There you go. Rachel testified to this too at the, I mean, this is just, let's go down to page 5. This is what Tammy Lynn Ortman entered in March of 2014, in April of 2014, in May, and on July 31st of 2014. She was effectively right away sanctioned by Judge Horn, even though we countered and showed these facts that I'm showing you on the screen. Then again, on February 19th, days after she entered the proper one, the judge would not allow presentation, and he kept 5 of the audience members jailed basically as audience members, and the court wouldn't let us move after I told them they were running fake mortgages. That's on the record. He was letting fake mortgages run through his court, right? That's fraud upon the court. It's crime. Fraud upon the court may not be a crime, but it's fraud upon the court, and it's criminal what they did to us, all of us. So here's from the Land Records Office. There's no initials, but here's what she was allowed to submit several times into the court, at least 3 times, and the judge then further persecuted everybody because he was mad because he got found out, because he's a crook. He's not even administrating properly. You can't administrate the estates even like this, so, or whatever the state administrative courts are doing. You cannot do this. You have no license to do such a thing. So here's page 5, and I'll go on. This is going to be important. Remember, the left-hand side is what's at the Land Records Office. Now, as you can see, they did a backslash, right? And as you can see here, Uniform Mortgage Writer told y'all that they were doing the fraud upon the court. Indiana Housing Community Development Authority, Uniform Mortgage. On the left-hand side, this is what is on record at the Land Records Office, even though the amount's not right because title company, Abstracts of Richmond, and Lingle and all them involved did this. Neil Freeman knows what Paul Stickle did. He told me he had no doubt these 3 properties and everything I was telling was fraud. But unfortunately, there was nothing he could do. When I told him about these mortgages and that what the judge had done, I said, is it a crime? He said yes, and he said he needed me to have the recorder call him from the land records, and I did right away that day. Nothing's been done to date that I'm aware of at all. So as you can see, same document. The left-hand side's what's on record over there. This is what she entered into court, though, and the judge made Rachel pay taxes to the court. Is the court the Treasury? Because evidently they're the holder of the MERS mom's mortgages, right? So, we shall go down here. Oh, I want to make sure. I think there's something different on this page, too. Nope, maybe not. Okay. There's a, oh, I know. This part's missing. This is funny. This is page 7 of 8. And reportedly this is 8, right? Just to make sure you see it, that they're on the same page. 7 of 8. 7 of 8. We'll go down. This is the one that is reportedly over at the Land Records Office. We'll go down here. This is what she kept entering into court. See this? Sean Sorrell, March 14th, 2008. Stephanie Wright, right? So, there's the certified number. So, here, in the fake one, there's no property, right? So, I'll show you how I know this belongs to the other property. And that's what Tammy Lynn Ortman was brought in to do, to fix this, right? Did the state of Indiana hire her? Obama, did you hire her? You guys are letting this stuff go by. IRS, did you hire her? Treasury, did you hire her? FBI, did you hire her? Are you her clients? Is the court operating as an actual bank? Do I have proof of that? I'm pretty sure I do. Did MERS lie about where their mortgages are kept? Are they kept in the circuit courts? Because on the right-hand side here, we have a mom's mortgage. 3/12 of 2009, Steph Sean Sorrell's commission expires. That's the same date, 3/12 of 2009. And here, it's got Jennifer Shrive, right? And over here, we've got Stephanie Wright. Isn't that correct on the fake one? So, and there we go. This better not be certified. Okay, we got a problem. We do have a problem. Because if it's certified and it's true, there should be a stamp up here. And see this? See this? Uniform mortgage writer, right? And that's what I said. You guys are going under the wrong years on these assignments. I told the judge this. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows he got caught in a judicial foreclosure state with a judicial mill. That's certified with no stamp, and this one's got a stamp, and this one's not certified, right? This is going to be important too. And this is what Deborah Rash told Neil Freeman on his. She left the message. Her and I are witness to this. So on the left-hand side, this is reportedly in it. This is the same as the one that I already put in, except a different certified number. But this is recorded March 18th, 2008. 1555 West Walnut Hill Lane, Irving, Texas. Sean Sorrell, March 14th, right? Stephanie Wright at First Horizon, 140 Washington Point, number A, Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where I called when they said that they had purged the loans. Okay? March 18th, 2008. They had this date off because it's off over here. Why? Well, let's go up to this warranty deed. Again. There we go. Because this goes to the 938 South 17th, not the 422 Randolph Street. That has an anchor date and a sale date of March 18th, 2009. And you all have just been busted, haven't you? But you know what? I don't care if you go to jail or not. I just care that I put it out there. And if you got a problem with me, hey, sue me. Take me to court. Looks like you already have taken my entire family, including children. And you've had great fun. Ron Cross, Walt Chichester, Mr. Boston, Mr. Beaver, Title Abstracts of Richmond, Legal Real Estate, U.S. Bank, National Association, Deutsche Bank, Judge Gregory Alton Horn, Michael Shipman, Chris Wolski, Sally Hutton, all of the City of Richmond Council, and let's see, who else can I think of? Oh, MERS, DTC Barney in the UK or in Canada, Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, First Horizon Home Loans, First Tennessee Bank, MetLife. All of you are guilty of fraud, and the government for not doing a thing, and the agencies who pretend like they're for the people. You're not. Here's one property foreclosure that I'm stating there's a judicial mill. They brought in two sets of lawyers, and these are certified copies. These are certified copies, and as you can see, they're all different by the same person for one house. One house. And this is the reason that they did this is because, and I have a warranty deed one. I'll just marry it with that, but I just want to show you. I'll show you more in just a moment. There's Richard E. Boston, attorney at law. He's the one that oversaw that, right? There's a beaver too. But this is a 2009. This belongs to the 938 South 17th. And Annette and Charles Scott, I will be sending this to you as well as several key people, including some federal attorneys. I've had enough of this, and I want the United States Attorney General to be put on proper notice that I am not going to put up with any more of this. You're not going to do this because you might not care about this country, but you all suck at running anything.